it is Dustin with TechMD coming at you with a Motorola Stylus 5G, and it's also the 2021 model. So there's a big difference between the 2021 and the 2021 Stylus 5G. The model numbers are different. So the Stylus 2021 is XT2115, okay? And and this one is XT2131. So this is the XT2131, and you can see that the little sensors are slightly off or different. You can see that online. I can't really show you here. Maybe we can pull up a picture on the video here. But overall, when you try to look through, the sensors are just slightly off. That's the major differences between the two displays. Overall, it's almost identical. I know the cables are slightly different. It threw me through a loop. So if you have had this problem, yeah. Also, I think the back cameras are slightly different with the 5G. I can't remember exactly, but they both have stylus and whatnot. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and just turn off that phone. If you don't turn off your phone, it can overheat and, you know, hurt the battery, but in reality, it's not that big of an issue if you can't. You always try to order two of the same parts. I'm going to leave some links in the description below. If you order on Amazon, just be aware you're going to pay more. If you look at Injured Gadgets, you're going to save some money, so click on them. But Injured Gadgets may or may not have them in stock, and as far as I know, they don't even have them yet. But it is a phone that I've repaired several times, and it's just, you know, the whole thing is kind of confusing and challenging. It's like, why do they make so many different names for these phones? There's also the Motorola 5G Plus, which I have a different phone or video for that, and 5G, and then there's a 5G Ace or something like that, or G Ace 5G, I don't know. So if you have one of those phones, look on my channel to see if you can find your particular phone. But overall, it is really confusing trying to figure out which Motorola phone you have, even for me as a professional. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting it on my heater for 120 degrees Celsius. I'll show you real quick. So I like to get it up to 120 degrees Celsius. I just put it on there for about 2 to 3 minutes. We don't want to go longer than that because we don't want to melt that plastic. Do not do this video without, or do this repair without watching the whole thing. You're going to need lots of tools. I recommend a heat mat, but you can use a heat gun. I don't recommend using those. So I'm going to link the heat map in the description below. Okay, so after we have done warming it up, we're going to need two tools to initially open it. First, we're going to start with the iFlex tool. And you may or may not want to use a rag. It might be a little hot to the touch. Just enter in initially just a little bit with your iFlex tool, and then take an iPlastix tool. Sometimes it pops out like this, so you can just enter in deeper. Okay, once you get your iPlastix tool in, then run it around the phone. Not too deep. This thing can still cut cables, but if you get it warm enough, it should be able to cut this adhesive off with no problems. And then you hold the home button or fingerprint reader just like that and pull. That's it. Okay. Now, typically you have to remove the battery in order to fix the screen, and that is definitely the case with this one here. And we may have to remove the bottom here as well. This one has regular Phillips screws. I use grip tools from Injured Gadgets because they strip no screws. I seriously promise you guys, you'll love these drivers. So just a normal double zero screwdriver will be your best friend. if you want to have no issues stripping screws. This is just a magnetizer, just remagnetizing the screwdriver, so that way these screws come right out. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pop this top off. I just use a plastic tool here like this. Usually come with a new screen. And if you're ordering from Android Gadgets, just like any kind of plastic tool to help pop this off. You can use metal, but then you may short out your phone, so I wouldn't recommend it. Just set that aside. Unclip in those. We get underneath the battery. So just carefully you do not want to, what's the word, puncture the battery with this. Just using a nice flat tool here to lift this up. This actually helps cool down the battery and dissipate heat. So you don't want to lose that. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery now. Okay, and then our cable looks like this one here. And we're gonna do the same thing with this. Then the next thing we're going to do is remove the battery. Now the battery takes lots of love. We're gonna put this screen flat down on the heater at 120 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes. That's gonna help loosen up the battery, and so we can actually pry it open. Not the battery, but you remove the battery. You'll see here. I use an iSesamo tool. It's one of the best tools that is available for prying, but you cannot puncture the battery. You gotta be really careful. And once we get that battery, the screen should be nice and warm as well, so then we can peel off the new screen. At this moment, I would recommend plugging in the screen and testing it before proceeding any further, unless you have extras like I do. So always make sure you test your screen. That little plug that I unplugged off to the left, all you have to do is just plug in the new screen, just like this, you know. Plug it in like this, turn on the phone and test it, make sure this operates. That's it. If you don't do that, you might have a bad time removing it. So make sure you do that. Okay, so it's nice and hot to the touch. And the battery should be able to be easily removable. But it's still gonna give you trouble, trust me. These things are not easy to pull out. Now, other technicians, they like to use heat or alcohol, but I don't like to soak the phone in alcohol, to be honest. I like to reuse the adhesive. I'm going from this side because there's no cables over here. And then if the battery gets a little bent, you just bend it back a little bit more while it's nice and warm. See, it's still nice and sticky for us. We're gonna lift that cable up, turn it around, and go ahead and remove the front screen. Between the plastic and the frame. Nope, looks like between the metal frame and the glass. Now, you guys want to do glass only, be my guest, but you have to have $5,000 of equipment. And it's super difficult. The screen, it doesn't cost that much, guys, so you don't have to do that. You want to mail in your phone? We are doing special right now, so give us a call. once you've cut it all off, it should lift right up. If it doesn't and this piece comes off or whatnot, it's not a problem. Just dig it out. So the next most important thing you got to do is really clean off all the glass everywhere, because you're going to glue on a new piece of flat glass, and you don't want the little piece of glass causing you to break the new display. That would be a very bad thing. Looks like most of the glass just came right up, so I don't have to clean too much on this one. Recommend just wiping this down, making sure there's no glass laying around anywhere. Okay, next step, after testing your new display, is you're going to remove this piece here. That's covering your front camera. And we're going to go ahead and be careful of broken glass. You don't want to break your new one or scratch it while doing this. Just removing the stickers here, getting ready for this to stick down. Okay, this is ready to insert into the new frame. But before we do that, you're going to need T7000. Once again, link is in the description. I use T7000 like most manufacturers do. This actually helps seal the phone. And it also gives you a little bit of play. Just in case your phone is bent a little bit, this is going to help it sit in there, even if it is. Just a little bit of glue up there. Be careful not to do too much. Okay, so we're ready to put it on. Make sure your alignment is absolutely perfect. This tape got in the way again, so we're gonna just lift it up and put it over here. Out of our way. Run it through the hole there. Line it up. And don't press too hard when putting it down, just in case you did miss a piece of glass. See, and the cable is a little disoriented, so we want to be able to pull that cable through. That's why it's not sitting down flush. Darn cable got stuck. It actually got stuck to the frame here. It happens. It's pretty rare, but it does happen. There we go. Because I should have pulled the blue thing out after I put it in. This is why I recommend always watching my videos first before doing it. So you want to make it sticky up here after. So then we just make sure it's sitting flush. It is. Make sure you have no glass shards here. And then just press down flat against the flat surface for about 30 seconds here. Okay, now that we got the glue pressed down here, press the cable in into the connection. Get this piece up. There we go. Put it down. Put your battery connector down and connect it. There we go. Try to fix our tape again. Tape's such a pain. There we go. Connect this. Move it off to the side. Plug this in. Put your screws in and do one final test. Next thing you can do is scrape off all this glue with a tool and also rub it off here. You can also just put a small layer of glue if your glue is in good condition like mine is, which it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set that back panel on the heater for a few, like 1 minute. You don't wanna warp it a little bit. And then we're just gonna put just a bead of glue here. If you're super concerned, you can scrape it all off and redo all the glue. And you can take this lid off as well to make the glue come out faster if you want. I've done it on a few other videos for Motorola, so if you need an example, just watch some of my other videos. Just make sure there's no beads of glue, old glue that's sitting up too high. For example, like this piece right here, I'm gonna fix that. Just have one continuous bead so that way when it does smush down, it has a nice seal. Okay, and then don't forget your fingerprint reader. You want that sealed too. Close up your T7000. Let's fix the extra thick bead of glue right here. There we go. You want it setting it flush down. Once you feel like it's warm enough, the glue is sticky again, line up your fingerprint reader, then put it on. If it's sitting up too much, that means the glue's too thick or in one area and you just need to pop it off and clean it one more time. So hold it down in all these areas here for a good 30 seconds. Just kind of move my fingers around while I'm doing this. Any extra glue you can clean up with some alcohol and a rag. So if you have any extra leaking out, not a problem. And then our final test would be to turn it on, make sure the stylus works, and all that jazz as well. So you may have, like I said, a little extra glue here. Just take some alcohol and clean it up. All right, guys, well, that's it. That's the Motorola Stylus 2021 5G. And I don't think they call it 2021. They just call it 5G Motorola Stylus. Don't ask me. Maybe they'll call it Motorola Stylus 2 5G next year. Who knows? They keep on making the most funky names that I can. Drives me nuts. Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate the watching my video. Please like and subscribe. And remember, support the video by buying those links down below. Share with your friends. And thanks. Have a good one.